Chochewa Kenya hapo, unaandika vitu mingi kwa mtandao. Tafuta kazi nyingine ya kufanya bwana, enda panda mdomanga. Ama waambie Dorcas akufunze ukue kunaimba kwaya na ubiri. Tafuta kazi. Acha hii ya uongozi ile kushinda. Hii siasa ile kushinda. Hebu ujiulize maswali. Nani alikuwa anakujua miaka 7 hapo nyuma? Nobody. Nani alikuwa anakujua miaka 4 hapo nyuma? Nobody. Ulifika tu kama mjumbe. Ulikuwa unavaa malongi inakaa hivi. Mara inakaa hivi. Tulikusaidia sana bwana. Sasa unaongelesha nani? Unachochewa Kenya. Mtu mkabila, mtu mkumbavu. Wacha kuchochea watu wa mlima. Watu wa mlima nilisema ni watu wa Kenya. Constituency yao inaitwa Kenya. Na ndio mimi nasemanga kama watu wa mlima wako hata kwa senda yako, hiyo senda imekufa. Na sasa can you imagine kama watu wa mlima wanaongozwa na mtu mkumbavu? Mtu ya kuota tamu kama huyu, mtu mjinga. Mtu mtapeli, mkabila. Akikaa nataka tu vita, mwizi. Wewe ni mtu kumbavu sana. Nilikuwa naona juzi unasema ati mimi ni mtu wa standard 2. Wewe maisikia nikisema nilienda shule, wewe maisikia nikicomplain. Wewe maisikia ni wewe nikicomplain wewe blala fucking. Na Farouk, wewe Farouk wewe tulikusaidia sana sisi hii watu wa standard 2 hii wako hii tulikusaidia. Wewe ni mtu ng'ombe sana wewe. Wacha kuchochea Kenya. Hautawahi kuwa hata mzee wa mitaa. Hata wewe siongoza DP hapo Kirinyaga nini hapo Mathira. Hapo wa Munyoro. Hata watu wa Munyoro wanajua ni mtu kumbavu. Kwenda kabisa. Yes, Mr. One Term MP. Quarter term Deputy President. Mtu blal fucking. Ninaona wanajaribu kuchochea wananchi hapo kuanzia juzi. Msiende maandamano. Kutakuwa na goons. Kutakuwa na sijui watu wamepangwa hapo. Wewe badala waambie wa Kenya wewe ndio unapanga uhalifu. Hata yeye unaongelea madhira saa hii sijui nini itafanyika. Wewe ndio unapanga hiyo takataka yote. Na wewe unafikiria una deal na watu wajinga. You think we are stupid like you. Unafikiri sisi ni wajinga sana kama wewe. Mtu ulishindwa kumaliza term, mtu ya quarter term Deputy President. Mpaka ukakuwa impeached na more than 200 MPs. Wewe ni mtu uko chini sana. Nilikuwa nasikia juzi unasema ati mimi na Farouk sijui tuko na akili kidogo. Hii akili niko naye wewe Mr. Dorcas. Quarter term. One term. Hii akili niko naye hata wewe unajua. Hii akili niko naye ndio ilikusaidia kwa kuwa Deputy President. Ukashindwa kwenda kushikilia kiti nilikupigania. Farouk alikupigania. Mimi nilikupigania. Wewe unajua ile watu walikupigania. Sasa hao watu ndio unatuzi. That's why ulikuwa quarter term. Na hutawahi kuwa hata chief. Wacha hiyo unaringaringa hapo na kuongea maneno mingi. Endelea kutapeli hawa milioni 2, milioni 3, milioni 2, milioni 3. Ukimalizana na hii biashara, ukwende nyumbani ukae vizuri sasa na wazee wengine. Mr. Quarter term. Mtu kumbavu sana. Mimi ningepewa kuwa naibu wa rais. Si ningekuwa rais. Next. Yani from A to Z. Yani ulikuwa umefika number 1. Sasa uko namba mwisho. Wewe ni mtu kublala fucking. Alafu naona unachochewa Kenya hapo. Unaandika vitu mingi kwa mtandao. Tafuta kazi nyingine ya kufanya bwana, enda panda mdomanga. Ama waambie Dorcas akufunze ukue kunaimba kwaya na ubiri. Tafuta kazi. Acha hii ya uongozi ile kushinda. Hii siasa ile kushinda. Hebu ujiulize maswali. Nani alikuwa anakujua miaka 7 hapo nyuma? Nobody. Nani alikuwa anakujua miaka 4 hapo nyuma? Nobody. Ulifika tu kama mjumbe. Ulikuwa unavaa malongi inakaa hivi. Mara inakaa hivi. Tulikusaidia sana bwana. Sasa unaongelesha nani? Unachochewa Kenya. Mtu mkabila, mtu mkumbavu. What?
It's 2024, 2029. So strictly speaking, we should have presented this before 2024 started. But we are presenting it today not because the part that is covered from 2024-2026 has been ignored. You will be aware that the current commission, commissioners joined the commission last year, slightly over 11 months now. And when we got in, the strategic plan was already being developed, and a big part of it was already completed. But we thought, as commissioners, that we needed to interact with it a little bit more intensively as new commissioners, so that we could bring in our own thinkings of where we think we would like to take the commission. So what is being presented as today has received input from before the time we arrived at the commission and from the time we have been at the commission, and therefore all of us as commissioners and staff of IBC and stakeholders with whom we have consulted are agreed that this is the strategic plan that we should present to the people of Kenya. The strategic plan has strictly, therefore, been an engagement of people even beyond IEBC itself. We have worked with stakeholders and especially consultants who have given us their inputs, and we took these opportunities to interrogate the thinkings that go into this strategic plan today. So in summary, we're looking at a unified roadmap to strengthen inclusivity, integrity, efficiency, and credibility of elections in Kenya. This is what we are anchoring the strategic plan on. And the scope therefore covers institutional transformation alongside operational readiness for election delivery. This is coming to us as we approach 2027. So a lot of, a big chunk of the strategic plan is focusing on 2027 and a little, therefore, what is going to happen after the 2027 elections. Intended impact: stronger electoral governance, enhanced public confidence, and stronger institutional efficiency. The vision, you'll be told, is a credible electoral management body committed to deepening democracy in Kenya. We want to underline the word deepening, and then democracy in Kenya. We are considering that Kenyan democracy is at a point where we are now maturing, and what we need to be looking at is how do we go further in the process of our democracy. And so we are talking about deepening our democracy through electoral process. The mission is to conduct inclusive, credible, and efficient elections and undertake boundary delimitation for equitable representation and sustainable democracy. That statement is loaded in a number of ways. First of all, inclusivity, credible and efficient elections. The first part of IEBC is about elections. And so we are underlining the word elections here. And then to undertake boundary delimitation for equitable representation, and then all of this for the sustainability of our democracy. You will see down there that the Commission's clarion is Kura Yako, Sauti Yako. Our strategic priorities, key results area number 1 is managing elections, which anchors everything that we are looking at at IBC. And KRA number 2 is citizen engagement and participation. This commission, since it got into office, has put a lot of emphasis its own engagement with stakeholders, and especially the citizen of Kenya. And so we are giving a lot of priority to this in the strategic plan. Then equitable representation. This will come in particularly when we come to look at the boundaries, the constituencies, the wards through which we get represented. And so that takes the second part, equitable representation. We want to ensure that Kenyans are properly represented in the various institutions of governance, parliament, and at county levels, and that IEBC is concerned with. And then institutional resilience. This is looking at us internally at IEBC. How do we proceed? How do we ensure that we are strong enough to conduct our operations within the framework of elections and boundary delimitation and everything else that goes with it? How strong and sustainable is IEB supposed to be? Those are the questions that we are attempting to respond to in the strategic plan. So we are talking about efficient planning, enabling legal framework, technology adoption, voter registration and delivery of credible elections, and voter education, stakeholder partnership, integrity, coordination, and collaboration and election observation, and then boundary review and inclusion of marginalized and special interest groups. We have spent a lot of time thinking about how to deal with marginalized and special interest groups. How do we include them in the operations of IBC and in the general proper governance of our country? And then governance, risk and compliance, resourcing and evidence-based decision making. Now the key outcomes and metrics that we are expecting will be credible and inclusive elections delivered in line with constitutional timelines, strengthened citizen trust and active participation in electoral process, fair and equitable representation through periodic boundary review and use of party lists, and resilient institutional capacity with robust monitoring and reporting. We have indicated there what it is going to cost, but that is for the entire period of the strategic plan. And implementation of this and governance. So in the short term, of course, is launch and plan activation, which is what we are doing now. And then in the medium term, we are going to focus on elections 2027. And post-elections 2027, which we are considering long term, will be concerned with institutional consolidation. So as we look at governance, we're saying we want focus. Implementation is overseen by commissions, relevant officers, guided by a results-based monitoring, evaluation, and reporting framework with monthly and quarterly and annual reviews. All that we are saying there is that we promise that we are going to monitor the strategic plan, and to the extent that we will use the strategic plan to guide the operations of IEBC. So this document is not just going to be a nice piece of document that we'll file somewhere, and then after that we do things the way we like. We are very committed to monitoring the strategic plan to ensure that we stay within it. And today, we ask you as Kenyans and people of goodwill who have come to support us today, that delivering this strategic plan is a shared responsibility. We are looking at strengthened public participation, and we all have a role to build our democracy. So we hope to champion voter education and broader citizen engagement so that Kenyans actively shape and trust every stage of the electoral process. This particular point we have emphasized very strongly in the last few months, especially as we were involved with voter registration. We have kept on preaching to us as Kenyans that it is important for us to come and participate in the electoral process. This is a point we are trying to emphasize here. It is actually not an option for us to participate in electoral process because it is what determined how our country and how ourselves are governed. And strictly speaking, it is a responsibility for each one of us as citizens to participate in the electoral process. Secondly, deepen partnerships and collaborations. Development partners and stakeholders to work with the Commission, sharing technical expertise and coordinated support. This, again, we're underlining here, partners and stakeholders. Must say, and I'm sure the chairman is going to bring out this point, in the short time that we have been at the Commission, we have tried to engage with everybody possible, everybody we think could help the Commission to achieve its objectives in the most efficient and most effective manner. And we have been engaged with several partners and stakeholders to this extent. And in full and safeguard a credible 2027 elections. We are looking forward to having sufficient funds to ensure that we are able to deliver elections in 2027 in the best way possible. And then, of course, to use the experience of 2027 even to plan for future elections. This is what this strategic plan is about. Obviously, the detailed version of the plan will be available to yourselves so that you can be able to interrogate these points that I have tried to outline in a much deeper manner. Otherwise, thank you very much for your patience and even for listening to me. Good day.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation. We all have a role to build our democracy. Kura yako, kura yako. Asante sana, na pia police band wana sauti yao. Police band, karibuni sana. Naomba tuweze kusimama tunapomkaribisha our chief guest, the Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court. Band tafadhali. Asante sana. Makofi tafadhali. Karibu sana. We celebrate you, Lady Chief Justice. Asante sana. Naomba sote tuweze kuketi ili tuendelee na ratiba yetu. Asanteni sana. Bas. Wow, our Kenya, our chief guest. We've just been briefed, given a highlight of the strategic plan, and the clarion call was, we all have a role to play to build our democracy. And there is a tagline I hope every Kenyan will pick from today. Kura yako, kura yako. Asante sana. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, what is this about election operation? Is it just an English term, or is it actually a plan? Let's find out in a moment. Let's have the screen ready.
She is an accomplished elections and governance specialist with over 2 decades of experience in public administration, electoral management, and institutional leadership. Currently serving as an IEBC commissioner in charge of election operations, she is widely recognized for her transformative leadership, having previously served as Registrar of Political Parties and CEO of the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Please welcome Dr. Ann Nderitu.
Our guest of honor, the Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, the diplomatic corps represented here, the UN fraternity, the chairman of IBC and the vice chair of IBC, all commissioners, all political party representatives present here, and all the speakers who are in the program today. In the interest of time, allow me to really recognize all of you and the distinguished guests this morning as we launched our strategic plan and our elections operation plan. I start by saying that we are gathered here this morning because we are moving together the journey of managing elections. And I want to stay right on the onset that election is not for IBC. Elections is for all of us. Elections is a citizen-driven activity, and as we then present the operation plan, our interest that we shall all get involved and ensure that we really do our part in every part. And IBC, we shall do our part. So finally, we shall deliver a credible election when we are all together. Ladies and gentlemen, I start with a quote that the spirit that prevails among men of all degree, of all ages and sexes, is the spirit of participation and the spirit of getting included, and therefore the spirit of liberty. That is according to Abigail Adams, 1775, when he was talking about democracy. The theme of the operation plan and the strategic plan is inclusion and participation in deepening Kenya's democracy. So from the onset, we intend that we shall be as inclusive as possible. And the operation plan only highlight a few of those things that we shall want your inclusion. And I don't want to belabor what Professor have already done, because the operation plan stems from the strategic plan. It's only breaking down the activities and the issues that we shall deal with when we are managing elections. As you have been told, my name is Anne Derito. I'm the chair election operation, which also include voter registration. Let me go direct to the plan. The purpose of the scope and scope of the operation plan, the EOP is a comprehensive framework for the effective conduct of 2027 general election, anchored in the IBC strategic plan 2024-2029. Our EOP is 2025 to 2027. It provides a structured roadmap, coordinating implementation and monitoring all the activities. It has several objectives. Objective number 1 outlines the key areas, electoral activities for timely implementation. It also ensures transparency, accountability, and compliance to the legal framework governing elections in Kenya. It fosters stakeholder engagement and citizen participation, and also enhances institutional resilience. There are 4 areas of managing of the 2027, as anchored also in the strategic plan. We shall be looking at managing elections. With this include legal reforms, voter registration, logistics training, conduct of the general election and post-election, and dispute resolution election technology. In this one, you can see there are many, many players. So it's not only IBC. We expect that legal reform, voter registration, and the dispute resolution and all, we have other stakeholders, including our guest of honor today. The second one is citizen engagement, where we expect that voter education and outreach, stakeholder partnership and stakeholder engagement and election observation, all that it's an outward looking key strategic area where we expect every stakeholder and every person to be involved. KRE number 3 is equitable representation, inclusive policies for marginalized groups, allocation of party list, that is included, and political parties are present here as we discuss this. We have seen before where there have been quite a number of complaints when it comes to party list. So we really want to focus this time. We work together to have a very inclusive party list that is participatory, even at the political party level. Then number 4, we have institutional resilience, which is we are looking at our corporate governance, compliance, communication, our human resource, and all that relates to internal capacity of IBC. Then we have the critical timelines. Just in summary, when you finally get the copy of strategic plan, you shall see very many timelines. But they are very critical timelines that we need to really highlight, just as a snapshot. Because I want to submit that election is not about guesswork. It's actually actual management, and when timelines are set, they are not for purposes of decoration. They're actually timelines that are supposed to be followed. And going forward, I know for sure we shall continue engaging. The first timelines, an election of presidents of the Republic of Kenya, election of the president together with all the other elections shall be held on second Tuesday, August 10th, 2027. That is cast in stone. Election shall be there and shall be held on Tuesday, 10th August 2027. A public officer who intends to contest in the general election shall resign from public office within 6 months before the date of election, which is Tuesday, 9th February 2027. That is the edit date. If you want to contest, you must have resigned by that date. Political parties shall submit their party membership list to the Commission on or before Tuesday, 16th March 2027. And that is also the edit date. You cannot come later than that. Political parties intending to present candidates in the general election shall submit the names of persons. These are aspirants who intend to contest in party primaries, and the date and venue of party primaries on and before that 16th of March. You can see that this date relates to the previous date, where the party membership list is being certified by the registrar and it's also brought to the Commission. A political party intending to present candidate to the general election shall conduct its party primaries and resolve all the intra-dispute on and before Sunday, 9th May 2027. A candidate intending to participate in the elections as independent candidate shall not be a member of any registered political party on and before 9th of May 2027. This being at least 3 months before the general election, according to Article 85 of the Constitution. So it's upon a person to choose whether you want to be a party candidate or you want to be an independent candidate. Candidates intending to participate in these elections as independent candidates shall submit their names and symbols that they intend to use during the elections to the Commission on or before Saturday, 9th May 2027. The days for the nomination of political party candidates and independent candidates for the general election shall be between Saturday 29th of May 2027 and Friday 11th of June 2027. After that, we shall have, of course, the registration of candidates. The nomination paper shall be delivered by the candidate to the chairperson of Independent Electoral Commission and bounded between the hours of 8 o'clock in the morning to the afternoon, between the hours of 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, at a place that shall be designated by the Commission. Dispute relating to or arising from nomination shall be determined within 10 days of the lodging of the dispute within the Commission. The lodging of the dispute shall not be later than Saturday, June 12, 2027. The campaign period for purposes of Tuesday, 10th August 2027, general elections shall commence on Saturday, 29th of May, and cease on the Saturday, 7th August, being 48 hours before the general election day, which is Tuesday, 10th August. The campaign time shall run from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. each during the campaign, each day during the campaign period. Participating political parties and independent candidates shall appoint and submit to the Commission the name of national, county, constituency, elections agents and polling station agents on or before Tuesday, 27th July 2027. And we expect that after that we shall have the training of agents, and then agents will go down to train the respective polling station agents. If the general elections are contested, the poll will take place on Tuesday, 10th in the respective gazetted electoral areas. So we are saying if they are contested, if there's only one candidate, the chairman will have a very easy time to just announce the result. Yeah, so we can never be sure that they are contested, but we shall see as we go along when the candidate present themselves. I think in a nutshell, almost concluding, we look at that timeline, roadmap to August 2027, where we are starting from party membership list. That and the aspirants, that become the start of really top gear preparation for elections. But before then, there are so many other activities that you shall find in the timelines. Candidate nominations is their voter registration We intend to conduct voter registration, one other voter registration drive, funds being available within the end of this year and early next year. And we expect that voter registration shall be closed and certified by the 12th of June 2027. As you already know, the register must close 6 months to the general election for purposes of audit and certification. Then we shall hold the election. Ladies and gentlemen, the general operation readiness towards the general election is about voter registration. We already have registered 2.6 during the mass drive that we had and the CVL, but our target is that we shall have registered 6.3 million. We also want to talk about the upgrade of technology. We shall have upgraded, secure, and verifiable system for registration, voting, and result management. We know technology is a key driver in election management, and we are very careful and very, very intentional on how we are getting into that. Logistic and procurement, early planning, and streamlined procurement for timely and material deployment as we procure, as we get the technology. For example, we shall engage the stakeholders on the same. IBC, and we have said election is not guesswork, election is for the people. So we shall engage all the stakeholders to see and evaluate the technology that we shall be using. Training, cascaded training, and then finally, we have the mode security, election security, which is very important. We have the mode agency coordination through the election security arrangement program, where the chair of that is Commissioner Hassan Noor, who we are working together to ensure that election is secure, and we shall be engaging all the security agencies about election. Ladies and gentlemen, on risk management, EOP is an enterprise-wide risk management framework addressing 8 key risk areas: the legal risk, insufficient registration and delayed enactment; political risk, including lack of stakeholder support, and that's why we are here today to request for stakeholder support; and electoral-related violence; financial risk, including less funding and budgetary limitation. Then we have technological risk, including system obsoleteness, data security breaches, and cyber threat. It's a risk which we are alive to and we shall be addressing and mitigating. Operational risk, including voter apathy, procurement dispute, staff profiling, which we are requesting this time round. Let's not profile staff because they are Kenyans. We are only coming here to manage an election, a duty that must be done by a Kenyan. Please, we request that you do not profile us. We mean well, engage us if we err and we have anything that, so that we address that risk. We also have the issue of reputational risk, including negative publicity, misinformation, disinformation, especially in this era of AI. Environmental hazard, including adverse climatic conditions and natural disasters. Ladies and gentlemen, I may not dwell on how we shall mitigate that risk in the interest of time, but kindly note that we are very deliberate about electoral-related violence, which especially affects some of the marginalized groups like women and youth and persons with disability. We shall be engaging stakeholders to ensure that violence, these elections, is not violent. Just like this person who came here and talked about 2007. These stories should not come after 2027. We shall do our part as IBC. Please let every stakeholder also do their part. So, ladies and gentlemen, we intend also to have a very robust security on the data protection and ensuring that our register and personal data is actually protected. In conclusion, we are committed, the Commission commits to implement the Elections Operation Plan 2025-2027, which shall gear towards fair and impartiality in all our operations, professionalism and strict adherence to the law, transparency in our operations and resource utilization, accountability in the use of public resources, responsiveness to stakeholder concern, and also feedback. The successful delivery of 2027 elections requires coordinated action among all the stakeholders and all players. The IEBC remains committed to safeguarding the sovereignty of the people and the will of the people of Kenya and advancing constitutional transformation through credible, verifiable, free and fair elections. And we invite the stakeholders to join us because this is our country. We only have one country. We must protect it. We must really gear ourselves to making Kenya great. We are already a giant in election management. Kindly help us to step to the next level. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much indeed. We only have one country. Elections, a citizen-driven activity, and we must deliver credible elections. The spirit of participation, inclusion, is the spirit of liberty. But without stakeholder engagement, without strategic partnership, then we will be just talking about launching some documents. And that's why we really want to appreciate the strategic partnership of Algeria, supporting both financially from the beginning of the strategic plan documentation, election operation plan documentation, and even to its implementation. And today it's also a call for other stakeholders. We also want to appreciate the British High Commission, which is also very well ably represented here. Up next, we want to listen to some key parties in the spirit of stakeholder engagement. Because of time, we'll only give you about 3 minutes. Once you hear this sound, that's a gong. It means your time is up, and that we'd kindly request that you wind up. Okay, to start us off, please welcome on the screen, let's have the Executive Director, Electoral Law and Governance Institute for Africa, Algeria, Felix Awar, key party, key financier, key strategic partner. Karibu sana, good to see you again. Asante sana.
I hope my 3 minutes have not begun. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to adopt the protocol that has been elaborately outlined by the overall Masters of Ceremony, as well as the CEO of the Electoral Commission, save to acknowledge the presence of the Chief Guest, the Honorable Chief Justice, and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, the Chairperson, Commissioners, and staff of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the British High Commission, and all members of the diplomatic corps, political party leaders, government representatives, development partners, civil society organizations, the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In normal times, I would have associated myself fully with the remarks expressed by the acting CEO, because he spoke for both himself and myself, especially when he acknowledged the fact that today is the day for the chair and the commissioners and the commission itself, as well as the people of Kenya. But allow me to make very, very brief remarks. And on behalf of Algeria, we are indeed very grateful for the partnership and the collaboration that we have had with IEBC and indeed organizations who are represented here today. And we are indeed very privileged to witness the launch of these two, the Elections Operations Plan, as well as the Strategic Plan. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate the IEBC for reaching this important milestone. The development of these two foundational documents reflect foresight, commitment, and a clear determination to strengthen electoral governance and democratic development in Kenya. We take great pride to have partnered with the Commission in the development of these two documents, as well as to support the launch that we are having here today. The strategic plan provides a roadmap for institutional growth and resilience over the next 5 years, while the elections operations plan translates that vision into practical actions that will support the effective delivery of the Commission's constitutional mandate. Together, they demonstrate a commitment to planning, accountability, and continuous improvement, qualities that are indispensable for any institution entrusted with safeguarding democracy. Let me take this opportunity to thank the leadership of the Commission, led by its chairperson, Erastus Ethekon, in working closely with us and seeking the necessary support to ensure the strategic plan sees the light of day, and indeed this is the day. In this regard, I wish to acknowledge the painstaking efforts and the many hours the technical staff of IEBC as well as LG committed to ensuring successful completion of the two documents. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1861, in Poughkeepsie, New York, on his way to his first inauguration, President Abraham Lincoln made his famous speech that reinforced the significance of the institutions and the duty of the citizens to preserve those institutions in a democracy. He said, and I quote, it is with your aid as the people that I think we shall be able to preserve not the country, for the country will preserve itself, but the institutions of the country, those institutions which have made us free, intelligent, and happy. Democracy thrives when institutions are strong, independent, accountable, and adequately reinforced, resourced to perform their mandates. It is for this reason that LG remains firmly committed to supporting governance and democratic development initiatives that strengthen public institutions and enhance citizens' confidence in the democratic processes both in Kenya and in Africa. And it is equally for this reason that we take pride in the partnership and collaboration with most institutions represented here today, including the judiciary, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties themselves, as well as the CSOs who are here today. Strong democratic institutions do not emerge by chance. They are built through deliberate investment in systems, leadership, planning, innovation, and continuous institutional development. They require long-term partnerships that prioritize institutional strengthening and support evidence-based reforms. As LGR, we commit to this long-term partnership to support where necessary and see IEBC deliver on its constitutional mandate. The launch we're witnessing here today, ladies and gentlemen, is therefore not simply the unveiling of planning documents. And let me also stress that the Elections Operations Plan, while representing a useful guide and timelines in the electoral cycle is not an end by itself, but a means to an end. The first time Kenya developed an election operations plan, the Electoral Commission developed the elections operations plan was in the year 2002. And in 2002, the interest of the then ECK chairman, the late Samuel Kivwitu, was simply to translate the timelines that were provided in the National Assembly and the Presidential Elections Act, now repealed, to a simplified handbook. And thereafter, then, the elections operations plan was born. In every election since 2002, including the disputed 2007 elections, the ECK, or the election management body, developed an elections operations plan, 2007, 2013, 2017, 2022, and now we have developed one. So it's a testament that the elections operations plan is not an end unto itself, and that its successful implementation will require concerted efforts for us, all of us represented in this room. So it's on that spirit that we have supported this process, and it is on that spirit that we will continue to partner with IEBC and indeed other electoral and governance institutions in Kenya. Let me say this as I close. Again, to once again congratulate the Commission for this significant achievement. We commend the leadership, staff, and the technical team who have contributed to the development of this plan. Let me also take this opportunity to thank the British High Commission for its support to LGR and the Kenya Integrated Institutional Strengthening Program that involves working with key civil society organizations in public finance, anti-corruption, as well as strengthening the integrity of the electoral process. We thank you for keeping the faith with Kenya, especially during this time when foreign and development aid has dwindled and there are geopolitical issues that are affecting different parts of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ELGA, let me once again say that we will continue to work with the Commission on this journey, especially in the implementation of the strategic plan, as well as the elections operations plan. May God strengthen our resolve towards a credible 2027 general elections. May God bless this country we love. I thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your strategic partnership. We're now ready for the next speaker, 3 minutes. But in the meantime, just get your phones, get your phones, get your phones, get your phones. Let's have the Menti spot. Get your phones. As we listen to the different stakeholders, we also want to engage you on your phone. We are asking you, what kind of Kenya do you envision? We want you to envision, so that when we say kura yako, sauti yako, that's how we'll get there. So you can scan the QR code. If you're joining us online as well, you can scan the QR code as well. So send your comments, your ideas. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, 3 minutes. Let's have Mr. Evans Misati, Chairperson, National Steering Committee. Karibu sana. 3 minutes. Once you start talking, the clock starts ticking. 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Thanks so much. Yeah, you have actually ambushed me because I was looking at the program and I saw my name was much later. So, but nevertheless, I still take the floor. Let me start by standing with the protocol as it has already been established, but let me say that the President of the Supreme Court, Mother Justice Koome, Chairperson of the IPC and the Commissioners of constitutional commissions which are represented here, the leaders of political parties, good morning. As it has been said, my name is Evans Misati. Misati sits in as the chair of the Political Parties Liaison Committee, PPLC, which is a statutory body, Section 38 of our Political Parties Act. And our main mandate is to ensure that there is free, fair electoral processes in engagement. And in the tripartite arrangement of the IPC, the register of political parties, and all the 96 registered political parties. Now, today, we are witnessing the launch of the strategic plan and the election operation plan 2025-2027. Let it be known that the representative of the political parties, we were invited to the Kenya School of Government, where I brought in the members of the subcommittees. The Political Parties Liaison Committee has got subcommittees which we use to learn the political parties. And the invitation by IPC here, we want to thank IPC because they have involved us in their cooperation in the process of coming up with this election plan. Nevertheless, there are some of the things that we cannot change. We cannot change, for instance, the date of 10th. But I want to encourage the Commission, through the chairperson, that the last time I checked, the opposition, the government, all the political parties, when they are campaigning, they are saying, "Hii kitu wanachukua, we are taking this thing." Be it opposition, be it government. So now it's upon you as the IPC, as the referee, to make sure that the person who takes, the other one has no complaint. And I want to tell you that IPC, I want to encourage you that what I saw, the first person, the person who stood here about what happened in 2007, 2008, which was the reason why the Critical Commission recommended PPLC as a platform of engagement. Because when a chairman, if you look at the opposition, they have what they call their irreducible minimums. And if you look at the government, or rather whatever, they might have irreducible minimums. And the other political parties can have their irreducible minimums. So now, how will you work with all these irreducible minimums from all of us? The only platform that will give you a solution is PPSC, because that is the trusted platform for us to engage. The funny thing about politicians, the last time I checked, if you take the irreducible minimum of one, the others will come with directly opposite irreducible minimums. So you have to see how to handle this thing. You don't have an option. You have to address us in the plenary of PPLC. If anybody has any issues, he brings it to the plenary. That is where we want to sort it out. Because in political parties, if somebody has an issue with the field, he is not the only player in that field. We are all players in that field. And for your information, the other political parties who have been keeping quiet now, I'm in charge of 50 of them who are now going to declare where the presidential vote is. So where I will be deciding, that is where the presidential vote will be. So as we finish, Chairman, we have a few challenges. I'm happy the president of the courts are here. We have had the pronouncements from the courts regarding the educational standards. We'll be petitioning either Parliament to ensure that we registrate some of the requirements, because we are going to see a situation where a PhD holder and a Form 2 dropout will be the same as per what IBC has told us. So we must have, as a country, some educational standards. Lastly, let me talk about the campaign financing, which I'm sure you are required, again from the court's judgments, you are required to do public participation and do gazettement of regulations. We have issues in Kenya. Unless we want to do it as a formality, we need to engage, and the weak link is with the citizenry. The citizenry, I have a problem with the politicians. They think they are hitting the roots. And the politicians, they think they are spending their money. And by the way, there is no politicians who gives you free money. So the citizenry must be told that this money you are taking either in handouts, in one way or the other, it must be returned. So the weak link must be addressed from the citizenry, because they are the ones who demand for handouts, hence pushing the politicians to use more money in elections. I wish you well, and I want to ask that God bless Kenya, and the 2027 be a free and fair elections. Asanteni.
Evans Misati, thank you so much. Up next, for the next 3 minutes, let's have the screen ready. Honorable Josphat Lodea Lowoi, Secretary, Head, Minorities and Marginalized Affairs Unit, Executive Office of the President. 3 minutes, please. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. The Chief Guest, Chief Justice, the President of the Supreme Court, the Chairman of IBC, Vice Chair, all the commissioners, all distinguished guests here today, and for inclusivity purposes, the leaders of the United Alternative Government, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to join you today at the launch of the IBC Strategic Plan 2024-2029 and the Election Operational Plan 2025-2027. I thank the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for inviting the Executive Office of the President through the Minorities and Marginalized Affairs Unit to contribute to this important national conversation on inclusion and participation in deepening Kenya's democracy. Democracy is strongest when every citizen has an equal opportunity to participate in shaping the destiny of their nation. Elections are not merely about casting votes. They are about ensuring that every Kenyan feels seen, is heard, counted, and represented. Unfortunately, for many years, ethnic minorities and the marginalized communities have remained at the periphery of Kenyans' electoral processes. Communities such as Ogiek, El Molo, Wata, El Chamus, Yaku, Nubian, Sakuye, Sengwer, Talai, Enrois, and many others have historically faced barriers that limited their effective participation in governance and electoral processes. The barriers include lack of identity documents, and I say this, more than 2 million of those communities have no identity cards, just to start before even taking the electoral voting cards. Geographical isolation, low civic education, language challenges, inadequate voter registration services, limited representation in elective and appointive positions. Allow me at the onset to commend the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for the successful implementation of the enhanced continuous voter registration exercise and the launch of the IEBC Strategic Plan 2024-29. I particularly wish to thank the Commission for launching the ECFR exercise in Shimoni Village, Lungalunga constituency, Kwale County. This was a powerful demonstration that democracy must begin reaching those who have historically been left far behind. As the Secretary of the Minorities and Marginalized Affairs Unit, I was particularly encouraged by the turnout recorded in counties that host a significant number of minority and marginalized communities. You've seen the percentages. We are leading, even if the numbers are small, but percentages are high. More important, the data demonstrates that the marginalized communities are eager to participate when electoral services are brought closer to them. The lesson is simple. The challenges are never been willingness of minority and marginalized communities to participate in democracy. The challenge has often been the access. For many years, these communities have faced barriers arising from distance, inadequate infrastructure, difficulties in obtaining identification documents, limited civic education, opportunities, and underrepresentation in leadership structures. Indeed, the IBC itself acknowledges that vast geographical distances, sparse populations, and infrastructure challenges continue to affect voter registration outcomes in arid and semi-arid lands. Yet, despite these challenges, pastoral and marginalized communities turned out in large numbers to register as voters. The Commission rightly recognized them among the heroes of the ECFR exercise. Ladies and gentlemen, participation in the foundation of democracy, democracy is strengthened when every citizen feels that their voice matters and their vote counts. As I conclude, in some marginalized areas, people know elections are near when roads suddenly improved and leaders become usually friendly. Our collective responsibility is to ensure that inclusion does not arrive only during campaign season, but remains a permanent feature of our democracy. I congratulate IBC for the important milestone and assure the Commission of the continued support of the Minority and Marginalized Affairs Unit. If it's about tyranny of numbers, let me tell you today, there's tyranny in smaller numbers. God bless Kenya.
Honorable Josephat, thank you so much. Up next, let's find out the next 3 minutes. Let's have the screen ready.
He is the Registrar of Political Parties and Chief Executive Officer of the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, providing strategic leadership in the regulation and management of political parties in Kenya. A seasoned governance and elections management expert, he is passionate about strengthening democratic institutions, promoting ethical leadership and building sustainable political parties that safeguard Kenya's multi-party democracy. Please welcome John Cox Lorionoko.
Thank you very much, MC. The last time I had a bell like the one you're ringing here is when we used to attend Mass in some of those rural places. And the church had to sound a bell to signify when Mass is almost about to start. I will write on the already established protocols, but allow me to recognize the presence of our chief guest, Honorable Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Lady Justice Martha Koome, and my brother, the Chair of Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, Rasta Sedung Etekon. I will also identify the presence of the high diplomatic corps here and commissions, leaders of government, CSOs, and all Kenyans present, including the staff of IEBC present in this hall this morning. Good morning. We gather here today at a moment of profound national reflection as Kenyans navigate the current economic pressures and the complex dialogue surrounding our future and the so much anticipated 2027 general election. It is easy for doubt and uncertainty to creep in. And it is in these moments that leadership must provide guidance and clarity of purpose. I must extend my profound gratitude to the entire IEBC, led by the chairman and the dedicated secretariat, for delivering such a comprehensive, forward-looking roadmap. This is no small feat. Your tireless efforts have provided the essential scaffolding upon which our nation's democratic future will rest. Thank you for your leadership, your meticulous planning, and your steadfast commitment to the integrity of our electoral process, for a good tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. I thank the Commission for stepping up to this role. The launch of the strategic plan and the elections operations plan is not only a call of duty, but an experience of accountability, predictability, and order. To secure our democratic future, we must be intentional. Because if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. So our presence here today is indeed an affirmation that our success depends on our collective strengths, our collective efforts, and our collective collaborations. Chairperson of the Commission, our institutions, the ORPP and IEBC, are not merely partners. We are like twins in this democratic journey. We are joined at the hip, if not the heart, by a singular, non-negotiable mandate to safeguard the sovereign will of the people of Kenya. While the Commission holds the mandate to manage electoral processes, the Registrar of Political Parties ensures that the political parties, the very vessels of our democracy, are stable, inclusive, and democratically governed. Therefore, we cannot function in isolation. When the internal governance of a party fails, the entire democratic chain is affected. As the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, and in partnership with the Electoral Commission and the stakeholders, we are committed to ensure that these vessels are fit for purpose, that they are transparent and responsive to the aspirations of the people of Kenya. As we look ahead to 2027, these documents and the roadmap provided give us operational certainty in an era of political fluidity. They provide definitive path transforming electoral anxiety into a structured and predictable roadmap to guide our nation through peaceful electoral process. This plan will strengthen our collaboration with the political parties through the tripartite platform, PPLC, and will empower us to mediate, to engage, and hold all political players accountable, ensuring that political competition remains rooted in constructive dialogue rather than discord and violence. The roadmap will guarantee that the path to 2027 is fundamentally fair and inclusive, ensuring that every voice, especially those of women, youth, and persons with disabilities, is not just heard, but remains central to our national leadership pipelines. To the people of this country, the launch of this plan today is an absolute assurance that we are not leaving the integrity of our next election to chance. We are building the architecture for a peaceful transition and a process that honors every single vote. We are moving forward in total alignment because when our institutions stand firm, the democracy of Kenya stands invincible. We are not merely preparing for an event, we are protecting our shared future as a country. As I finish, Chair, I want to encourage you. As a referee, we need to learn from the referees that we observe every day. All playing fields are noisy. The players make noise, the supporters make noise, and the spectators make noise. Everybody makes noise. The referee has only two things: make the rules clear, keep your eyes on the ball. The noise will come down at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much indeed. Those remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, up next, let's have the screen ready. Asante sana.
She has been an auditor in the public sector for more than 30 years, working as both an internal and external auditor. She's the chairperson of the East African Community Audit Commission and the chairperson of the governing board of the African Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions. She now leads an organization of over 1,800 employees. Republic of Kenya, FCPA Nancy Gathungu.
Thank you very much. The Chief Guest, the Honorable Lady Justice Martha Koome, Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and President of the Supreme Court, our host, the Chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, Erastus Setacon, together with your commissioners and staff, development partners, distinguished guests, chairs and members of constitutional commissions and independent offices, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. On behalf of the constitutional commissions and independent offices, and on behalf of the Office of the Auditor General, I start by extending my congratulations to the Commission on the launch of the IEBC Strategic Plan through 2029 and the Elections Operations Plan for 2027. These two documents provide a clear roadmap for delivering inclusive, credible, secure, and efficient elections while strengthening the institutional capacity necessary to fulfill the Commission's constitutional mandate. As oversight institutions and key stakeholders in public accountability, we are particularly encouraged by the emphasis placed on institutional resilience, including governance, financial management, and risk management in the two plans. The Election Operations Plan further demonstrates a commendable commitment to election preparedness through clear timelines, resource allocation, risk mitigation, and performance monitoring. One of the key profound areas in the two plans is building and sustaining public trust through sound governance, transparency, accountability, and effective risk management. Globally, trust in public institutions remains one of the most important determinants of democratic legitimacy. According to the 2024 Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Survey on drivers of trust in public institutions, only 39% of people reported high or moderately high trust in their national governments, while 44% reported low or no trust. The survey further found that only 41% believed they could influence decisions affecting their communities, and these are the citizens who are your key stakeholders as IEBC. These findings demonstrate that citizens' trust is closely linked to perceptions of integrity, transparency, responsiveness, and opportunities for meaningful participation. For an electoral management body such as yours, trust is not built on election day only. It will not be built on the 10th of August 2027. It is built every day through transparent decision-making, prudent stewardship of public resources, effective stakeholder engagement, timely communication, and demonstrable integrity in all electoral processes. The strategic plans focus on citizen engagement, electoral dispute management, election observation, institutional resilience, and evidence-based decision-making places the Commission on a strong path towards nurturing and strengthening that trust. Equally important is the Commission's commitment to enhancing the inclusion of marginalized groups and special interest groups. An electoral process is truly credible only when every eligible citizen has an equal opportunity to participate and to be represented. This commitment directly advances the Sustainable Development Goal number 16, which calls for peaceful, just and inclusive societies, responsive institutions, and inclusive decision-making at all levels, by ensuring that women, youth, persons with disabilities, minorities, and marginalized communities are not left behind. The Commission will not only strengthen electoral legitimacy, but also deepen the citizens' sense of ownership and trust in democratic processes in our beloved nation. The Constitutional Commissions and independent offices and the Office of the Auditor General stand ready to support the successful implementation of these plans through our constitutional rules and mandates, in particular by providing independent assurance on the use of public resources, evaluating the effectiveness of your internal controls, governance, and risk management frameworks as demonstrated, and giving recommendations for continuous improvements. We shall contribute to strengthening accountability, enhancing public confidence in the operations of IEBC. As you embark on this important journey towards the 2027 general elections, we assure you of our continued partnership in promoting transparency, accountability, and value for money, all of which are essential foundations for credible elections and public trust. Congratulations to the Commission on this significant milestone, and wish you every success in the implementation of these transformative plans. I thank you all.
Excellent. The Auditor General, Asante Sana. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, Diplomatic Corps Representative. Please welcome Ambassador Bayen Rousseau. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Your Excellency, Ambassador. All right. But we want to celebrate and appreciate the Diplomatic Corps. But in the meantime, we'll move on to our next speaker. Please welcome.
He is a seasoned development practitioner with over 30 years of experience driving transformational change across Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. As the UNDP resident representative in Kenya, he leads strategic partnerships focused on economic transformation, governance, youth empowerment, and climate action. Please welcome Jean-Luc Stallone.
Big round of applause, please.
Amjambo. Let me stand on the established protocol, but acknowledge the chief guests, the President of the Supreme Court, and the Chief Justice, also the Chairman of the IBC, and now the established protocol. I have the pleasure, and I'm really delighted to, on behalf of the United Nations in Kenya and on behalf of the United Nations Development Program, it is a privilege to join you today for the launch of the IBC Strategic Plan 2024-2029 and the Election Operation Plan 2025-2027. I have mainly 3 points. Na nitafanya haraka nisipigwe na hiyo kengele. 3 points. My first point is partnership. The United Nations and the government of Kenya have a shared and strong partnership in the delivery of electoral assistance for every single election since Kenya's return to multi-party democracy in 1992. The government of Kenya, as we look back across these decades, we must celebrate and commend the government of Kenya, which has successfully conducted consecutive polls every 5 years. My second point is on the value on the strategic plan, of this strategic plan. The two documents are assets for Kenya's democracy journey. The strategic plan provides a clear roadmap for the next 5 years, firmly anchored on Article 81 principles as well as global electoral standards. The electoral operations plan transfers these high-level objectives into actionable activities. My third point is about the United Nations support. For us at the United Nations, these documents will shape how we deliver the UN program on support to Kenya's 2027 elections. Our pledge to Kenya remain unwavering to continuously deliver high-quality, impactful electoral assistance. In doing so, we emphasize our unique institutional strengths, which includes our extensive global presence, our deep technical expertise, and our strict political neutrality. Finally, I would like to close by congratulating the IBC, its leadership, and all electoral stakeholders for realizing this critical milestone today. The United Nations remain committed, a committed partner as we walk this path together towards a transparent, inclusive, and peaceful 2027 electoral process. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
He is the British High Commissioner to Kenya, bringing decades of experience in diplomacy, international development, security, and conflict resolution. Widely respected for his work in international relations and development, he continues to strengthen the long-standing partnership between the United Kingdom and Kenya, while advancing cooperation in trade, governance, security, and sustainable development. Please welcome His Excellency Matt Ball.
Well represented by Dr. Ed Barnett, the UK Deputy High Commissioner to Kenya and permanent representative to UNEP and UN Habitat. He has over a decade of experience in Africa and the Middle East, spanning development, humanitarian governance, and security affairs. Please welcome.
Hamjambo. Good morning. With the clock ticking, allow me to ride on the protocols already established. But it's a real pleasure to be here this morning to support the launch of these two fundamentally important documents. Like Kenya, politics in the United Kingdom are never boring. But more importantly, we share a common commitment to strengthening democratic governance and institutional resilience. These are indeed the foundations that underpin the Kenya-United Kingdom strategic partnership signed by His Excellency President Ruto and Prime Minister Starmer in July in London last year. And we have been steadfast in our support to critical institutions, including the IEBC, in the delivery of better election management over successive electoral cycles here in Kenya. Led by its chairperson, Mr. Erastus Ethekon, I would like to commend the IEBC for the progress being made towards preparedness for the 2027 elections, including the enhanced push on voter registration earlier this year. The launch of the strategic plan and the elections operations plan is indeed an important milestone, and it should ensure that every Kenyan shilling spent delivers its intended effect in line with those plans. As one of the UK's key implementing partners, I would also like to thank Algeria, led by Felix Awar, for the work they are doing to support IEBC and other democratic processes here in Kenya. Elections are indeed a cornerstone of democracy, providing young people, women, people living with disability, marginalised groups and all citizens with the opportunity to exercise their constitutional rights and shape a nation's future. The more inclusive a process, the stronger the mandate for those elected to govern. Our hope is for Kenya's 2027 election to be the most inclusive yet. And I would like to particularly encourage the participation of women and girls, not only as voters, but as candidates, election officials, and civic leaders. This must be accompanied by a collective commitment to ensure their safety and dignity. Women in public life, wherever they are in the world, continue to face unacceptable levels of gender-based violence, harassment, and intimidation, both offline and increasingly online. I therefore call upon leaders, institutions, media, and society at large to take a firm stand on all forms of gender-based violence and to create a safe and enabling environment in which women and girls can participate freely and equally in the political process. I would just like to highlight three further challenges. One around trust that we have heard the Accountant General speak so eloquently about, one around legal reforms, and one around peaceful conduct. First, on trust. Recent opinion polls indicate a consistent concern over low public trust in key electoral institutions, including the IEBC. Strengthening trust and tackling mis- and disinformation in the electoral process will be critical to sustaining this momentum. Second, on delayed legal reforms. I welcome the strategic plan's emphasis on enacting electoral laws sufficiently early to avoid disruption to operational preparedness. I encourage all relevant stakeholders, including Parliament, to prioritise this process, recognising that the window for meaningful reforms is narrowing. Getting clarity on the legal framework in enough time is essential for planning, confidence, and effective delivery of elections. And third, on peaceful conduct. As we acknowledge the scale of the task ahead for the IEBC, it is equally important to recognise the responsibility of the broader political ecosystem. I call upon political leaders and their supporters to uphold peaceful conduct and to refrain from actions that could incite electoral violence. We have recently seen worrying instances of disruptions at political gatherings, including the use of organised goons to create disorder. Such actions undermine democratic processes and public trust. So in conclusion, the UK remains committed to supporting Kenya's democratic journey and strengthening of credible, inclusive and peaceful elections. We look forward to continued collaboration with the IEBC, Government of Kenya, civil society and all stakeholders in the lead up to the elections on the 10th of August 2027. I congratulate the IEBC on this important milestone and wish you success in the implementation of these plans. Asanteni sana.
Karibu sana. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, police band, kuna wimbo wetu ambao tunautamani, tushangilie Kenya. But in the meantime, we want to celebrate the presence of Madam Beverly Opora, representing the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior. Asante. Makofi yake tafadhali. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. In the meantime, police band, twende. Wewe. Naomba tusimame sote. Hey, daima. Makofi tafadhali, nchi yetu tunayoipenda. Penda daima. Hey! Wale ambao mngependa kupiga picha, mnajipiga picha, mnasema nchi yetu. Na kipenzi chetu, hatuta, mnajipiga maselfie, picha zenu, hizo picha pia mnaweka kwenye mtandao, lakini ni picha yako mwenyewe. Alafu na tag IEBC, kura yako, sauti yako. Na hapa kama unaweza kutembea, tembea kwa mwenzako, watu 4 5 hivi, wasalimu, waambie ni Kenya yetu. Aya, tuendelee band, ni wimbo wetu huu tunasherehekea. Tuendelee band. Bas, hey, tembea kidogo, mwambie mwenzako karibu Kenya, kama hakuwa Kenya mpya hii sasa, IEBC mpya. Asante daima, wewe. Aya, asante sana daima milele.
Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima.
Hey! Bas, aya, na daima. Twende.
Nya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima.
Hey! Hey! Mimi ni mwana Kenya daima. Kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Wewe. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Whoa. Thank you so much. Makofi tafadhali for the police band, and well done. Let's just have that quick. We had something on Menti. We're asking you what kind of Kenya do you envision as we come to a close? What kind of Kenya do you envision? Patriotic Front Party, but kindly request that you welcome Honorable Justin Muturi. Makofi yake tafadhali. Tuzungumzie. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Good morning. Yes, good morning. I'm privileged to represent the Wiper party leader who was in the program but is unable to be present with us on account of some bereavement. But I'm not just representing the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. I'm here also with the Deputy Party Leader of the People's Liberation Party, Professor Peter Kagwaja, who's here representing the Party Leader, the Honorable Martha Karua. We also here with my brother, my friend, the Honorable Karoli Omondi, the Member of Parliament for Suba South, and the spokesperson of the Linda Mwananchi movement. I want to begin, before I make my statement, by stating that, many Kenyans around me make, and I will not accept to be bound by the 3 minutes, because I've looked at the program. It is government heavy. I didn't understand why it is so government heavy. And also, we've had to push our way to be included in today's program. Otherwise, I also have the original program, which did not have any mention of the people in the United Opposition and also the UG, the United Green, the party led by Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga, on whose behalf I will also be delivering a communication to the IEBC. He has authorized that this communication, by way of a letter, we give to the IEBC, to whom, and this will be the third, because we've been writing to the IEBC requesting for a forum where we could have a discussion. Looking at this program, there is no opportunity for anybody to express a contrary opinion on the document, on the documents which are being launched today, because I think they have been developed by the IEBC. Many of us don't know what is contained other than the sketches that have been outlined, which are the mechanical things which are provided for within both the National Constitution as well as the Elections Act. As the opposition, we have held numerous public rallies. During some of them, we have called upon, on numerous occasions, the IEBC to convene a multi-stakeholder forum at which the issues that we are being called upon today to witness their launch can be discussed and be agreed upon. We have written to both the Secretariat and the Chairman, and I may wish to just remind them on the 12th of February this year, And on the 16th of April, making the same plea, we have not received as much of an acknowledgement even of those two letters. But nevertheless, we are now publicly today going to now deliver this one, hoping that there will be the courtesy of acknowledging this one of today, because it's being delivered publicly. Fellow Kenyans, today we stand at a defining moment of our democracy. We've come here because we believe that elections are too important to be planned behind closed doors. Elections belong to the people of Kenya. They do not belong to the IEBC Secretariat. They do not belong to a few officials sitting in the boardrooms. They do not belong to consultants, vendors, bureaucrats. They belong to the sovereign people of Kenya, whose votes determine the future of this nation. It is therefore deeply troubling that the IEBC seeks to launch an elections operation plan for the 2027 general elections without demonstrating meaningful consultation with key stakeholders in the entire Kenyan democratic space who will ultimately be affected by this plan. An elections operation plan is not an internal administrative document. It is a national covenant between the electoral management body and the people of Kenya. It determines how elections will be conducted, how disputes will be managed, how technology will be deployed, how voters will be verified, how results will be transmitted, and ultimately, how the sovereign will of the people of Kenya will be expressed. Such a document cannot be developed in isolation and then presented to Kenyans as a finished product. The attempt to rush the launch of this plan raises serious concerns to many stakeholders. Public confidence is not built through secrecy. Credibility is not achieved through exclusion. Trust is not earned by informing stakeholders after decisions have already been made. The IEBC must understand that legitimacy comes from participation. I notice that they emphasize participation, which we are questioning. It comes from consultation. It comes from ensuring that every stakeholder feels that they have been heard and respected in the planning process. We reject any suggestion that stakeholder consultations were not conducted because of financial constraints. That explanation is neither convincing nor responsible. The cost of consultation is insignificant compared to the cost of a disputed election. The cost of bringing stakeholders together is insignificant compared to the billions of shillings lost through election petitions, political instability, economic uncertainty, and declining public confidence in democratic institutions. Kenya cannot afford another electoral process whose credibility is questioned before it even happens. Our concerns do not end with the elections operation plan. The integrity of the voter register remains a matter of national importance. We cannot continue discussing voter register audits while ignoring the integrity of the source population database. The principle is straightforward: garbage in, garbage out. If irregular records exist in the integrated population registration database, those same irregularities will eventually contaminate the voter register. A credible voter register can only emerge from a credible population database. That is why we insist that the population database must be independently audited before any voter register audit is itself undertaken. The audit process itself must be transparent It must be open to accredited observers. Political parties, civil society organizations, religious organizations, professional bodies, election experts, and citizens must be able to observe and verify the process. Private companies cannot be allowed to conduct audits of critical national database without independent oversight. Democracy requires verification, not blind trust. We are equally concerned about the increasing reliance on election technology without corresponding transparency. Technology must serve democracy. Democracy must never become captive to technology. Every election technology vendor engaged by the IEBC must be fully accountable to stakeholders, independent auditors, and the courts of law. There can be no secret servers, no hidden systems, no untouchable vendors, and no black boxes in a democratic election. And we are all too aware of the Supreme Court decision and orders made in the 2022 presidential election petition, and the response by the technology provider that providing access to the information in the servers was going to infringe on their intellectual property. We cannot allow this to be repeated. Every stage of the process must be transparent, auditable, and verifiable. The transmission of election results remains one of the most sensitive stages of any election. Kenya's electoral history demonstrates that public confidence can rise or fall based on how results are managed and transmitted. The IEBC must therefore adopt stronger safeguards, including independent security audits, end-to-end encryption, immutable audit trails, and full disclosure of system logs whenever disputes arise. In addition, every constituency should have unique security features on official results forms to strengthen authentication and make manipulation much more difficult. Fellow Kenyans, we must also confront a difficult reality. Electoral reform cannot stop at the level of commissioners. For years, and more particularly, including the painstaking negotiations that led to the production of the NADCO report, public attention was focused on changes at the top of the commission, while the administrative machinery responsible for implementing elections remains largely untouched. The Secretariat is responsible for procurement, technology deployment, voter registration logistics, operations, and election management. If public confidence required reforms at the commission level, then the same standards of accountability, transparency, and review must apply to the Secretariat. The future of Kenya's democracy, cannot depend on half measures. Institutional reform must be comprehensive. Electoral planning must be inclusive. Election technology must be transparent. Voter registration must be credible. Results transmission must be secure. Most importantly, the Kenyan people must never be excluded from decisions that determine how they exercise their sovereign power. Today, we in the opposition call upon the IEBC to halt the launch of the Elections Operation Plan and initiate a genuine, inclusive, and transparent stakeholder consultation process. We call upon the Commission to place democracy above expediency, participation above secrecy, and public confidence above administrative convenience. The 2027 general election must not only be free and fair, it must be seen to be free and fair. That process begins today with transparency, consultation, and accountability, if the Commission is willing to undertake. I thank you for listening to me. I will now hand over, and just to announce we have ideas on some of the issues I've raised. We have actually prepared. We were prepared to participate and give ideas, give inputs. Should the commission be willing, we are ready to provide the material that we have. I thank you. I hope that the chairman will accept my letter today and acknowledge the receipts.
Thank you so much indeed. Up next, Honorable Kelvin Lunami. Please welcome, representing Majority Coalition, Honorable Nicodemus. Honorable Kelvin Lunami, over to you.
Our chief guest, Chairman of IEBC, let me ride on already established protocol. My name is Kelvin Lunani, the Vice Chairman of UDA Party. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to join you today for this important tripartite conversation. As you are aware, political parties are clients or customers of FIRST, the registrar of political parties, fundamentally of IEBC. Without political parties, the registrar and even IEBC may be out of business. And without the registrar, parties lack legitimacy without IEBC as the referee. We shall be in chaos as players. So we must work together for all of us to remain in business. Ndugu wa Kenya, mahali tunaelekea, Kenya is on trial. Na itakuwa ni kitu ya muhimu sana ikiwa tutaweza kuendelea mbele tukiwa tajadiliana. Sisi kama wanasiasa, haswa muungano wa Kenya Kwanza, tumeweka mikakati, tumeweka sera, lakini kuna tashwishi ambalo tutauliza Chief Justice na Chairman wa IEBC. We have seen political leaders who are coming up with propagandas ambazo are very inciting. We would like to know what laws will put in place to safeguard Kenyans from political violence. Asanteni sana. God bless Kenya.
Asante sana. To run the race, you have to pass the baton. And there are rules of engagement. You drop the baton, then you've wasted time, we've wasted resources. Sometimes accidents happen. You remember 2007? We dropped the baton and it took time for us to pick ourselves up. But yes, we did pick ourselves up. And sometimes we can't waste time trying to pass the baton to the next generation. Because while we are quarreling, fighting, time is being taken away from us, resources are being wasted. We better agree and move on. Agree. And sometimes we have to make sure whatever happens, we don't drop the baton. The Gen Zs are here. We don't drop the baton. We don't drop the baton. We don't drop the baton. We keep on doing whatever we can until the next generation captures the baton. That's why we're here. And so, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready. And we want to appreciate the referees. Let's welcome the referee. And to guide us through that is the vice chairperson. A big round of applause for her. We celebrate you. Thank you so much for your leadership, your servant leadership. And we wish you all the best. We are together. This is for us and for future generation. Karibu sana. Makofi yake tafadhali. Fahima Arafat Abdallah. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Honorable Lady Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Honorable Chairperson of IBC, my colleagues, commissioners, the ambassador, and all honorable dignitaries present here today. Good morning. Good morning once again. That really got me off guard. I was so much interested in the baton, and I just found that I'm the one being ushered in. I will be very brief. Today is a very big day for us as IBC, and as the CEO earlier stated, the day for our chairman. But before I even say my 2 points, kindly allow me, our chief guest. We had 2 commissioners who spoke. You found one while you were coming in. That was Dr. Ann Deritu, the Commissioner Electoral Operations Committee, and our professor, Francis Adwal, the man from Seme. I was told just Seme means a gentleman from Seme. So at least they had an opportunity for everyone who is in the room to hear and listen to them. And now it is my pleasure to request the other 3 to at least come and say something, greet you, and then I can say something and officially usher in our chairman, Commissioner Mary Karen Sorobit. We clap for her as she comes.
The Honorable Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, my lady, Honorable Martha Koome, our chairman, all protocol observed. Good morning. Good morning once more. It's another beautiful day as IBC commissioners. We congregate here so that we may launch our strategic plan. You know, the strategic plan of an organization is your aim or your future or how you set on how we go about. So today we launch also our election operations plan. We have set out on how we want to deliver the next credible election for the Republic of Kenya. And IBC as commissioners led by our chairman, we're giving you our undertaking that we please our AG Emeritus, my senior, we give you undertaking that as IBC, we are committed as commissioners in delivering credible election for Kenya. Trust us, and Kenya is safe. Thank you very much.
Makofi kwake. Watu wanajuana kwa vilemba, eh? Hata mimi I will know people in Nairobi before nirudi Lamu. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Commissioner Hassan Nur Hassan. Alisema dalili ya wanasiasa wanakuwa wameshiba kidogo na wanavaa miwani. Sijui kama yeye ni mmoja wao. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hassan Nur. Mimi ni Hassan Nur, kwa wale wanavyonijua. I want to say that, and I want to give a commitment here, on behalf of myself and the commissioners who are here today, that we are determined as a commission to give you the best election Kenya has ever had. Please have faith on us. And I want to assure my very close friend, my brother, my yamet in the university, J.B. Muturi, a person we've walked the journey of public service together. He has close to 40 plus years of public service, just like me. That this is our country, we have no other country. And we are determined to make sure we retire and live peacefully in this country and not go anywhere else. For lack of better words, we are like a midwife. The commission is a midwife. And when the midwife is not given the right environment, then there is high risk to the mother and the child. Please give us the space to operate so that we deliver this baby in its healthy form so that the mother can give us another baby tomorrow. Don't allow the noise around us,